Welcome. How is everybody this wonderful evening? I'm just laid back, waiting for everybody, all the wonderful people to join your happy healer lover, just sitting in this world so for sure of our value. Welcome. It's gonna be a good one this evening, as it always is. So I hope you had a good day today. It certainly has been a trying time for your happy healer in the past year and a half, but a great day today. And as we progress with AmericanMantics, I'll be showing you in honest detail all of the effort that my heart can put out. And it's about so much effort. You would had to have been there through the beginning to understand all of that I have put into this effort. So I want to say thank you for being here. This is AmericanMantics. The time is 7 p.m. sharp. As usual, it's when we show up here each evening on Wednesday. And on Friday we will be here again. And of course on Mondays. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 p.m. sharp. And you can count on that. And folks, I'm so happy to have you here. I think many of you know my history. You know that I ran for president in the past and that I did so because I believe in our future. I believe that we're all worthy of so much more. I know that we are. It's not a belief. I know it. My faith tells me that. I know how beautiful you are. I know what your worth is. Nobody could ever convince me that you don't have the worth that I know you have. My goodness, you've got so much worth. And I want to realize that worth. Who else is realizing our worth? It's us. We're the people at the bottom. Hello, who is realizing our worth? It's so important that we realize our own worth, especially in God's world, where we are the most important commodity, but yet we are treated like we're nothing. We're the most important, and things that don't matter are constantly and consistently put ahead of us. It's not okay. And you know that, I know that, we all know that, and we deserve better at this point. We quite frankly demand better. We know that doing it any other way is it's just going to leave us broke, morally challenged, physically sick, and hopeless. We can't have that. And I love Trump and I voted for him. However, I only did that for you, for me, and for all of us, because I seen for us a much, much better way. I did that because I knew it would break the mental hold that the in-crowd had on Americans and our duopoly and allow us to have love instead. To cultivate the leader from the bottom that understands our incredible and hate-wrenching problem that kills way too many people, leaving them unhappy and incapable of being the best they can be. That's a concern for me. And it's a reason for AmericanMantics. While I'm not officially running, I think it's clear to see for all that your happy healer lover will be running again in 2024 with hopes that it's that year that we can bring about God's world of love and truth. That it's that year that we can bring about AmericanMantics, and henceforth, by way and through, vis-a-vis your happy healer lover for President of the United States. Most people here know that. And I think it's important that when we talk about grave issues concerning our faith, God in our lives, the very happiness that we can achieve, it's also important to be imperative and as good as we can. And that we should put aside all notions of ego, greed or anointing this one or that one, that'll only break our hearts. And it's the devil's plan to break our hearts. For me and for all of us, this is the answer to that problem. AmericanMantics is that answer. It's time for us to pull together in ways that we've never allowed ourselves to do, despite having all the tools to do just that. Anything less than that will fail to meet the needs of our time, which I talk about on the show, and you should seek out those shows and learn more about them. And in this one, I really emphasize the power of love in our hearts and on our lives. It's impossible to get to any place special without it. I remind and show in concrete detail in ways that works for all of us in all of our lives. And this live cast, I do it, and don't miss a single part. I'm really thinking about my entire 40-year lifespan all at once when I speak, and it's a lot to go over and consider in my various programs. But love allows me to do that because I need not count any bigoted reasons, or it's the things I allow. I don't do things for bad, and I encourage you to do that same exact thing. That we should all each strive to serve and give back to this amazing experience called life. As president, I will do just that when that time comes. And of course, it's not about being bravado or about even being president. In fact, I don't really want to be. But what I do want to be is loved and cherished, and in a world where we're putting God's love and truth, we talk about it all the time, AmericanMantics, and that we put that first. That we're not putting greed first. Oftentimes what you hear when people talk about money and our ability to do things is that we can't afford it. Well, the world of greed hell is all about things we can't afford to do for people who matter and have purpose and value. And they cite things, and one of their favorite things to cite is inflation. Recently, of course. It's not the first time, but in any times of good times you have inflation, I'd like to talk about that for a moment. I've made this a big deal. The money problems that we've had are not always what it seems in greed hell. And so inflation is driven by many things, including greed and having companies like left behind and not building for today, and instead focused on profit instead of progress, like they should be. And inflation is not always bad either. It's not the collection of bucks that matters most, and then to protect those bucks from becoming less valuable. Instead, it's realizing that we're here to serve the needs of people because people matter most. So, it's a building of new businesses and making new opportunities realized by investing in new progress and paying off old debts, which inflation makes much easier, consequently, with new cheap loans and money. New exceedingly impressive invention will keep inflation down in a world that works instead of focusing simply on the collection of dollars. And inflation is far from bad in a world focused on growth and progress that serves people who matter and they have purpose and value as well as a sacred reason for living. It allows one the ability to pay old expensive debts with new cheaper money and to build a great new expansive world of God's love and experience the material wealth and world of abundance that serves to the cause of human value, which is happiness and purpose while feeling appreciated and loved in a world where you're empowered and free at the same time to learn about and pursue your life's calling that you surely know adds to the value of the human experience. How can the devil be so cunning to throw our scent off of our own value. Though that's exactly what he did. AmericanMantics is the answer to that. And that's why we share it. We know that you and I and all of us really need that. It's the one thing that we haven't had. And that's why in this world we constantly hear about the bad things that are happening. I was just notified by my friend when we were talking recently that now Tom Hanks was arrested because of indecent, I don't know exactly what happened, but, with dealing with children and pedophilia, it's the most devilish stuff you can imagine, and exactly what you'd expect out of the devil's world. It's rampant, it's everywhere, and it's the people that we give our trust and faith to, the people that we say we expect for them to give to us the value, or to express and respect the value that God has ordained in each one of us through his creation. Do you see that? I don't see it. I simply don't see it. So I love you. It is 7/11, August 4th. Wow, time is flying, I say. Wow, time is flying. And I've been thinking a lot about this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday program, and I love speaking to you guys. I think it's a great thing we have going on at 7 p.m. each one of those days. And I always said to myself, what's most important is getting this information out in a way that translates, in a way that makes it easier for other people to understand, to make progress possible, and to change lives by showing the truth and being honest about that truth. That's not always simple for people, and it's not always simple for people who are trying to do that, because they're being honest with themselves. They're being honest with you, and they're talking from their heart, and it's not good enough for many people. I wish it was. I look you in the eye and I say, what's not good enough about you, about me, about us? We're the good people. We're the people at the bottom, most close to the least of these. We have been awarded and rewarded with the best, most powerful country in the world in terms of monetary value and capability, and yet we don't even take care of our own people. That I know so many people who struggle, and senior citizens. You could really judge a people, especially a rich people, based on how well they treat their senior citizens and their children. And those are the most vulnerable in populations, and America could get it so much better than we do, but we don't value people enough. That's the problem. We must value people more. And people say that they're serving God. They say, oh, I love God. God means everything to me. And I know that because I experienced that same feeling of faith. But then they accredit all of their heart, all of their effort, and their care in people that are not necessarily for God. They're for money. They're for ego. They're for bravado. They're fighters, just like your HappyHealer lover. Fighters! But for greed. How is that acceptable? How can we have an open and honest and clean heart knowing that? Can I call bullshit? Bullshit. The man I voted for president, President Trump, was everything we needed at that time. Everything. But when I see people now so lusting, Donald Trump is the God Almighty. He's the guy who poured out of the sky when the sky opened up. I knew he was God in the flesh. I want to tell you something. That right there is going to cause you your everlasting life and happiness. That's what it's going to cost you. That's not doing God's work. That's pitiful, and it's ugly, and it's wretched. Don't do that. It's so ugly on you. Do you want to look that ugly? Oh, God, here comes God. I mean, whoops, it was Donald Trump. I mean, God. I mean, some people, I never believed that people like that existed. Republicans are very logical people. You can talk to them. For example, when you talk to Democrats, and I'm a guy in the center, and I'm a lover, and I know what matters. People matter. And when you're talking to people on the left, it's hard to break through. You can't get through to them no matter how hard you try in some cases. Although your HappyHealer breaks through, but it takes so much effort, and I readily admit that. And also, I work to break through with Republicans too, because I say, we're working for God's world. You should know about this. Where is your heart? You should know about this. How dare you not know about this? You're God's people. And you take one man and place him up as being God Almighty? No. God Almighty is an almighty lover. Donald Trump will spit you down real quick if you get in his way. Let's not forget about when it does come to that January 6th, he was ready to fight all the way up to, and I'll tell you what, all the way up to, fight. No, this election, even until this day, he keeps doing it. But he became a coward on January 6th. You disagree? Call in. The phone number's on the line. Here you go. We know what the truth is. The moment we start taking the truth and saying it's something that it's not, then we get in trouble. We're working for God's world. Call in now. You're God's warrior. Call in, God's warriors, because I recognize being a God's warrior. I too am God's warrior. I love God. I don't take one man like President Trump, who literally is not God. Literally not God. Nor is he God's chosen. And please call. Let's discuss the virtue of man. Let's discuss our progress. Let's discuss our unity, what we're working for, and then let's see what's happening. Let's talk about your humility first. We'll start with that. Your ability to accept the truth over the lies you have been told for years. When you know it's the truth, I say, damn you if you can't do that, because you're not doing the work of God, and you're doing the work of the serpent, and you know it, and you do it anyway. Shame on you for that. But yet you could do so much more, and all of us can do so much more. Real talk is what God is about. Most of you are cowards who run from that, and that's the truth. Cowards are working for the devil, and those are the people that are flourishing in greed hell. This is the land of greed hell. You're living in it. It's filled with cowards who work for profit, the senseless collection of bucks, and they run from the truth because they're only going to worry about the truth on their deathbeds. Right here, when I'm dying, that's when I'll say, what kind of life did I live? Was I a good person? No, you coward. You waited until then to do God's work? To say you're sorry? How old are you? 50, 60, 70? And you're still a piece of shit? Doing the devil's work? Shame on you. Seriously, shame on you. If you have a shrine for President Trump, shame on you. If you have a shrine for Biden, shame on you. If you have a shrine for me, shame on you. We're talking about God's work, love and truth. I'm not going to tolerate that, because love is not about taking one man, and no matter what the truth is, it's whatever this man says it is, especially a coward who invokes people to fight on his behalf, and then somebody gets killed, this one gets killed, that one gets killed, and he steps away. Oh, wasn't me, quiet for 6 months, and then steps back out and says, hey, what about my election? What about my voice? What about love for me? You know what I say? Go fish. Go fish. That's what I say. And I voted for Trump. Not once, but twice. It was the better alternative at that time. It's a sober, prudent, honest mind looking for the truth. Not these televangelists who speak about God, but then ride around in Bugattis and Lamborghinis and more hell. No, the hell with that hell. I'm tired of the devil. Aren't you tired of the devil? Well, you're bringing him in. And shame on you for that. Forgive me. That's right, brother. and I ask you to listen. What am I? I'm just a boy. I'm a smart one. We're all children until we realize we're all fallible and we're instability as this system is, and it's fallible in its outcome as we're entirely wrong in our approach. Our approach could be better. We're utterly fallible to be effective in a time in history when we must be successful in virtually everything. We're applying new systems and putting engineers to work for new energy independence for a long utilized in an inversion markets with springing up with people that want to do better. Scientists and inventors who are eager to help make this better world a reality. It's long overdue. Smart people need support in ways that'll help change the way society lives. That's the only way we're going to meet the challenges that we must meet. To be realistic, any other approach and we're going to fail. And it's something that we must see. And that we must do something about it. And we can do so much more. I'm certain of this. I believe in us. Only with the unity that we derive from our trying times now. Adversity can bring us together. We don't have to fail in the largest and most intense ways to see a better way. We only need to get behind what works. And at the very core of it, that's what peace, realized, looks like in practical, relatable, identifiable, and recognizable terms. Politicians who don't care fail to explain that fact, and that's a clear fact. People lack that insight, and to become activated in a way that is life-sustaining, peaceful, and freedom-enhancing, and life-enhancing. They universally understand that the sacrifice of getting along isn't a sacrifice at all. In the purest sense, if we're all winners, that would be the definition of insanity, to go away from that. And the very acknowledgement of its values is recognizing the oneness nature of our humanity, society, government that's made by the people. We are the people, and people matter. All people matter. Freedoms matter. All freedoms matter. We have to respect people and restore faith in the ability for government to serve the people in a new and exciting, technologically driven time. That time is overdue. The future must be navigated just as things in nature should be navigated. Should we want an effect on an outcome, then we want it life-sustaining for our race and our species. We may all perish in ways that are historically inconceivable by the masses until now. Modern computers have helped educate the imagination about all people who have witnessed the power of their own ability. And understanding that we're propelled in new times with new ways and new communications, and in new ways that old ways could not sustain, even if we wanted to. Development and progress is very elevating in life itself, and you can almost see the distance between the way times were and the way times are. You can also see all that going back to the old times wouldn't be possible without having large casualties in the Dark Ages. We have way too many people on the planet for one thing other than for us to continue to advance. And when we fail to advance, we fail in ways that lead to massive death. And we can't afford for humanity to continue losing its value. It's showing, and people are losing hope in ways that are killing hope itself. It's progress, really, that's a one-way direction that requires new ways of living and not going back. That's regressing in massive ways, like kills. We've seen it in the Dark Ages, as well as our first stage of enlightenment. And I say first because the second is now and underway already. But we must make changes in our politics that reflect the things we know to be true in our soul as well, or we are going to fail these times. So, I'm proud of people for understanding that fact, really. Now, like at no other time in history, as is like it is today. And I'm proud of our fellow humanity. Once again, we better find more reasons to appreciate one another and less reasons to argue and to cause indecent chaos and destructions like the devil loves, and hate and judgment. We're killing humanity. Our riches and our freedoms are needed to bring about a great age of enlightenment for all people that can help save self-determination. In a time when we are losing our freedoms like no other time in history. This stuff is happening by nature, and it's nature which is showing us the truth of our times. How real is it also that the very nature of my candidacy back myself, and I've been blown away by how large of a goal my own candidacy has been, how long it's been going on, but also how right it feels. And that this campaign, I just offer such vast insight into the aspects, the truth, and as varied as they are and as many as they are. The very wide variety of reasons why I'm running, coupled with the unique nature of our times, makes a necessity of someone who can sense in nature as a uniting energy, as an inspirational leader who can call people together to help see to that world we want, those changes. It takes a visionary and a leader who can see. How is it that I'll be damned if I'm all those things, even if it's just that I also happen to be a dork and a justice geek? My favorite superhero is Superman. Truth, justice, and the American way. And it's also HappyHealer values. Teach your kids about values worth attaining and maintaining. We need ways we can all aspire to be better and to be positive role models. Not everyone, but I am me. And I'm not bad. And I know how to appreciate everyone else. We need a common good, an atmosphere of cooperation going on in the name of life security for a complicated future mired in conditions of rife. We must address the very life-threatening, altering, and catastrophes, as well as prepare for some unpleasant truths in order to be ready for the next 100 years of life and to sustain development for humanity. We must change the way we think or we'll fail to meet the demands of our time. Anything less will not suffice. It will not meet the challenges the last 100 years have put on the system in human development and sciences. They've always been in balance. But then they stopped being in balance for the last approximately 30 years. We have to acknowledge the need for society to either be recused in our ways to become better and in that way, more compassionate, more caring, and creative. Life matters, and as it turns out, it has a sacred value. We must recognize that, and in quite certain terms, I intend to keep selling the right answers, to be genuine and pure and proven, smart and capable in my attempts, and to keep planting the seeds that keep growing and teaching and showing hope and enlightening, that it shall equal for us hope, or that we shall fail that test together. But I'll be so thorough together in my attempt that people like you will never get to live the rest of your days without wondering why you never gave your Happy Healer lover a shot. Those values and virtues that I stood for the same as you that you say. That's the truth, and you know me well enough to know the difference. Our ideas aren't just good ideas, they're life-changing ideas, altering and sustaining ideas. The ones that provide continuity of life to our people, our children, and our families and their families. We could and we must do better than we currently are, especially in the human energies, as I often explain. And yet, we see how it works when we fail to. It shows in the lousy outcome. We are turning out more American-grown terrorists than at any other time. People who hate and have their own reasons for hate, regardless of what's imagined or if it's real or not. All that matters is if it's confirmed by the unknowing masses who can be tricked into pretty much anything. And yet, now, the masses even know that. Because the lessons as of late have taught that. President Trump has been instrumental in showing us about the news, and our situation is ripe for having a candidate that's honest. And that's what is important and what makes it possible. We have to have an honest broker of truth for unity. And so that's great news. Because the other version is, well, people who put greed first. And so, for the love of God, I say we must do this, or we will all fail, and it's beautiful, we'll fail together. And it's never been more stark or clear in terms of a time in human nature with all the various forces at work, and an energy in which we all work and operate, whether we recognize it or not. Yet, if you do, then it's much more empowering. And the fact is, I can see clearly just as we all can, because these senses are innately human. All of us can see and instantly recognize that. We need smart operators and passion, and coupled with a full, complete, and explainable vision that can show that truth required to inspire the people to also see these challenges through. Indeed, we're talking about the continuity of life itself. It's hard work, but it's fun work for me. When life is about life improving, life benefits are immediate. That's what's behind your Happy Healer run, and the system of AmericanMantics, and the system of greed is so weak and efficient as a system and relied upon by greedy animals who can't think their way out of a paper bag. And we are nature in a more advanced form, really. And we better show ourselves capable of that kind of progress, because these truths are not negotiable. And they're pliable in some ways, and they're concrete in others. And in the ways that they're concrete, they're not negotiable. We must meet some challenges with the very development we harvest from our environment that keeps us free. And by the way, we've been having a lot of greed mortgage off our progress and sell off our progress and our ability, and we're not keeping up with that because in large we have been tricked and fooled into a soft civil war sure to turn hot if we don't brighten up. Henceforth, the very need for our getting smarter. It's the very life-ending nature of this problem that makes it so imperative. And being imperative, that gives me solace and hope that people will see the difference, especially God's people. I have my entire process front and center, the truth of God, the ways most critical, and it relies on the honest broker of truth so that we can create results equal to our abilities. It's time. And we know it's time if we rely on any way of going forward in a system of greed that demands our failure. And this is a basic human energy, and it's a fact, then we will continue to suffer in ways that are inconceivable for a species as smart as we are, but independently, collectively, we're paralyzed to make a difference. That's why we have self-determination and freedoms to exercise and do it right. They won't be saved, these people, if they're not exercising the truth. And neither will any of us. So we have to exercise the right ideas so we can strengthen those ideas. And that's how we are with our families. So we have to face it. When in the system of greed, we suck. And we'll continue to suck until we can get functioning. It's the truth. And for that, we need so many things to happen. All the stuff we've gone over with an overarching absolute need for unity to get anything done on all sides, even every side. And anything less at this point is as good as death. If not for all, at least for half of us. And that's about as clear as day for anyone to see at this point. Just for various reasons and in various ways. I say in more ways and for more reasons than one. And that is what I recognized for such a long time, like many of us, and conceived to perceive a way out of it. A real way. One that works and is pliable. And that human engineers specializing in the development of human understanding in ways that enhance our lives and make us happy. We are the ones with value and purpose, not greed hell. They will never get anything done that needs to get done to confront our very serious issues unless they first get serious and recognize our serious need. That's why I said we need to humble up, and the sacrifices that we can all make, and that they translate, and that it's in tune with what's needed, because it's often not. It's always in tune with what greed wants, and that's simply never good enough. So I hope you're doing well. Let's say I love you very much, and I'm sorry if I hurt anyone's feelings, as I'm very passionate. I know it's at stake. It's our souls, it's our lives, and it's our happiness. So we have to all, each one of us, do our part, our best part. We have to put our best foot forward. And that's what I do each day when I come here. And I stay constantly involved and engaged in this effort. That's why I don't worry about my own self, because this whole world is just worried about its own self, and we need to worry about each other. And so that's the life that I promote. It's the life that I live. And it's also the kind of campaign that I ran. And in the future, the kind of campaign that I will run again. Because you matter. Because you have purpose. Because I value you. Enough to tell you the truth. Enough to love you. Enough to respect you. So to tell you that truth and that it matters, well, isn't that the greatest truth? And that's what we do. And that's what AmericanMantics is. Together we can do so much more than we have allowed ourselves to do in this world of greed hell that takes everything from everyone. And in the meantime, we are allowing ourselves to become confused, fight with each other, curse over stupid things, and we prop men up who are cowards and say that they're gods. That's the truth. The man I voted for, that's what we did. You know, on January 6th, I was upset. I shared that once I don't bring it up all the time, but it's the truth. I mean, this guy he's a coward, man. You've got people dying on your behalf, fighting the fight that you cry about every day. Of course, you're a big whiner. It's all you do. Wah, cry. And then when it comes time to do something, you run. Coward. Your lawyers can't fight that battle. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. For a man who would die for your value, I say unbelievable. And I look the other way because it's just unbelievable. You look so naked to me. Oh, Donald Trump is a god. Nah, I voted for the man, but get real. Come on. Get real. All right, folks, you know that it's not the truth, but yet you do it anyway. Get real. I love you very much. It's not the truth. Donald Trump is not a god. The more I hear it, the more it makes me say, how are we ever going to find our soul? People sell themselves so cheap. I have to remain so committed to this goal, and yet people are so sloppy, and they think that they're doing God's work. No, and you know better. Deal with that on your own deathbed. That's what I'll say. No need to say anything else. And by the way, most of the people that do that are older. So older people who are closer to death, not doing the right things for all of us to live, deal with that on your deathbed. Sad story. My goodness, I don't want that. I would cry and die for you to avoid that. But deal with it on your deathbed. Deal with it then. You wanted to put the devil ahead of people, ahead of God. You wanted to put man and prop him up as God. Go ahead and deal with that on your deathbed then. I love you, but deal with it on your deathbed because it's not right. And you know it. And at that time, you'll admit it finally. And you'll be squirming and you'll be seeing those answers come at you like lightning. The energy will be telling you how wrong you was. And you'll know it the whole time. But that I was afraid, and ultimately I was so fearful that if I didn't do this or that right, I would lose my wealth. Oh, I couldn't call into the HappyHealer. Oh no, he said that I couldn't call because I just tell all these things all the time and create hell, but I would never actually defend my views. Call in. Here, I'll put the number up again. Let's talk about how Donald Trump is the chosen one who allowed that nice woman to die on January 6th fighting his battle while he went in hiding for 6 months. Call in. So that we can discuss that. People matter. They have purpose and value, every last person. And when you start throwing that away, and it's all about bravado, and it's about greed, well then, I'll tell you what, Donald Trump is the very best we can get. He's the very best in greed hell. The way greed does things. So selfish, so nasty. He'll come in and break them. He's got that hate and that hell. Oh, you got a problem? Done. Out. You're fired. Get out of here. We don't care about you. Forgot. You know what that is? That's my mind forgetting you ever existed. Out. You know? This is how they do. You like that? That's love? That's care? That's going the distance? In greed hell it is. Not in the world of God's love. Get real. And then you have pastors saying, oh, well, Donald Trump's right. They're thinking about their pocketbooks, their Bugattis, their Lamborghinis. They want nice tax cuts. They're thinking about their friends, their cozy relationships. They're thinking about all the things that don't matter in greed hell, and they're getting you to go along with it. Shameful. Serving the devil, the serpent, Satan himself. And then you say, here I have arrived, and I am God's. Bullshit. I call bullshit. No, you helped buy the Bugatti for the asshole. Oh, but you're a horrible person. You said butthole. Guess what? It's not about that. And yeah, we should be good people and we shouldn't use foul language. But it's so much more than that. What about Trump on the bus? Grab him by the poo-tang pie, right? That was okay. Because it was our anointed one. He could do anything. He said it himself, right? Look, I love Trump, but when I have to, I go in a group, it gets a little insane sometimes. I pour my heart out to people who don't listen and then respond with Trump 2024. And I'm like, are you serious? Did you hear what I said? Look, I'm telling you personally that I love you. And then they respond with Trump 2024. I'm like, don't even do that nasty stuff. This is real value. Are you a robot? Call in. Let's talk about it. Are you a robot? Because you don't know how to talk in love? Does Jesus not teach you about love? Is that not serious for you? Or is it that money really is your God? Just like Trump. That's Trump's God. Trump says, I love God, I love the country, he hugs the flag. Well, so do I. I do all those things, but I go so much further than that, and I don't give up, and I make sacrifices, and I care, and I say the words, we live in greed hell, we must do better. Tell me when Trump last said that. Oh no, because that would not make him richer. He's not out for the people that are at the bottom, is he? Oh no. No. The class system works very well for those folks, and they don't want to change that. That's why you need somebody who gets the difference, who is sane for one thing, who is committed to you, who understands the problem, but most of all is clean from all of that corruption, came from the bottom, also have experienced good times enough so that they don't get sucked into that corruption. They don't fail to the devil. They don't fail to Satan. And so that was the candidate I was looking for. Is it you? Run for president. Be good at it. I'm going to back you up as hard as I can. In fact, it'll be my life's ambition, backing you up and doing other things that are great for humanity. That's what we need in people, to make that sacrifice. That's when we get to have a better world, not doing this greed hell and being a part of it and then saying, oh, well, my greed, my shit, it smells better than yours. No. That's the duopoly we have now with the left and the right. You see in the comments, we have a few, I can name them out. I love everybody, so it don't matter, but some of these people, they come in and they curse off Trump, and I say, what are you doing here? Why are you doing that? Look, we're about love. And they're cursing out Trump, and they're making things even worse. I say, stop that. And then they curse, and then they even say bad things about me. I say, do you even watch the show? Do you? Obviously they don't, or they would know better. And I say that listening is love, and ignoring is another form of hate. It says I don't value your essence enough to even hear you, to listen to what you're saying. So I ignore you. And that's a sin. It's how we got ourselves into this problem. I hate you so much I ignore you. Look at where we are because of that. These people can't be saved. Nope, I don't believe it. We can all be saved. We just have to get to that work. Unity and love and the truth. We have to be so honest about the truth and pray to God that He keeps us in with the truth. And be loving about it. And be caring about it. All right, folks, I love you so much. My commitment to you will never change. God bless you so much. We'll see you on Friday at 7 p.m. sharp.